everyone to Midwestern Toy Comic Fest. I'm Dr. Scott Jordan, aka Zombie Scotty. I'm a cognitive psychologist philosopher at Illinois State University, just down the street. I produce a little thing on YouTube called Dark Loops Productions, where we'll be posting this interview when we're finished. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be interviewing Ray Hurd. Ray, welcome.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
My absolute blast. So before I go anywhere, I just want to let everybody know you're an amazing actor, voice actor. I looked up your resume.
Okay. I thought that was what I was looking at here.
Right?
Yeah. I said, well, it kind of looks resume-ish.
I'm just going to show the audience. You got that page, you got that page, you got that page.
There are 400 more coming, but you know.
It's 177 performances here.
Really?
Yes.
You know, my uncle would ask me when he would see me from time to time, he's like, well, what have you done? And I just would draw a blank. You know, a lot of times when people would ask me what I've done, and I'm like,
yes.
well, and he's like, how do you do this and not know what you've done? I'm like,
yeah.
You got to understand. I said, when you do as many characters as they've asked me to do, you can't keep up with all of it, you know, and some of them are bit roles, and, you know, it's just not easy to follow. And so, I mean, I even had, when I was in, and I've said this with, I was interviewed by Elise Bauman, and she was, I didn't know that My Hero Academia at the time that I had gotten this phone call from a reporter asking me how it felt to be a part of the world's largest anime at the time. And I was like, hold on. And, you know, and I'm going through my phone and trying to find all this information on the show, and I'm thinking I had no clue, you know, because you often go in, you read, you get the information, read for the character.
Right.
You know? So anyway, it's wild stuff, but you don't always know what you're getting into. You just develop the character, you try to give the best performance you can, and, you know.
177 times. I mean, what I love about this is, you know, in my field, I'm not a therapist, as I said, so I write papers. Okay. Right? But I'm just doing my work. So when people say, what do you do? I just said, just look at the CV. Okay. Just go there, look, you know. If
that's the best way. You're right. I just tell, I can honestly say Google me. And it just, you know, it's there's a certain, I don't know to say pride, but there's a certain feeling that comes with that. Well, just Google. You know, and then, you know, but at the same time, I try to be as humble as possible with it because, you know,
of course,
it can all go away in a flash.
Oh, you know what? Let me shake your hand on that, because that's something that if you can live that vibe, people can tell on set, that this dude knows this might be the last one, so he's giving it his all. Yeah, you never know. I mean, I do a lot of comm panels. Okay, and before we start, I always tell everybody this could be the last one. Yeah. So dig on it, go knee deep into it, and enjoy it. Right. Because this is all, not to get too Buddhist, but I'm with you. Fleeting, you know. Yeah. Appreciate
life is but a vapor, man.
Exactly.
It's here and then it's gone.
Well, so you have won awards. So I want to hear about these awards. Okay. So you are the 2015 winner of the BTVA Anime Dub Voice Acting Award, Breakthrough Voice Actor.
That was actually 2014. Okay. They have it down. Yeah, they have it down. That's interesting. 2015. So, dude, but it was 2014. You
said Google me, right? So I did.
And that's what but yeah, it was 2014. They I was learning about that stuff at the time. There's a lot I didn't know. I was still new to the genre. And there was I got a text message, and they were like, "Hey, you know, you're the winner of the you know, in the acronym form, the BV, the Behind the Voice Actors,
Breakthrough Voice Actor of the Year."
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, well, that's cool. That's really cool," you know. And I had no clue. But what it boiled down to is that at the time, Funimation was notorious, apparently, for not having many actors do more than one, maybe two voices a year. Okay. I did 4. Okay. So, and they were all major characters. Azuma from Fairy Tail, Kizaru, of course, of One Piece, Admiral Kizaru, and then there were a couple others. And, you know, because they were all major characters and, you know, and everything, it was like, oh, you know, and so I looked at, you can go and still see all the other people that were in the listing that I beat out that year. And I messed with Chris about it. I mean, Chris is the man, of course. But I was like, I beat Chris Sabat that year, you know. I'm like, yeah, you know. And so yeah, cool. Yeah. And then eventually I got to work with Chris in the studio, and he's super cool. But yeah, you know, it's I like to rib every now and then, you know.
That's fun.
But it was nice to win that award. The other one, I'm not.
Yeah, let me read this. The 2017 nominee for the BTVA Anime Dub Television OVA Voice Acting Award for Best Vocal Ensemble in an Anime Television Series, and that's One Piece.
I don't even know that I was aware of that one.
There you go.
I need to get that paper after this. I need to see.
This is yours. This is yours. You can have it.
I need to follow this one. I'm sure I've seen it and just didn't know what I was looking at. But yeah, I need to put that down. It's kind of like getting Oscar nominations. Yeah. It's like you didn't win the Oscar, but you did get nominated. So you know you want to keep that kind of stuff. Of course,
absolutely. Yeah. So I'll even sign up for it if you want.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, please. Yeah.
So the traditional thing might be to say, you know, what's it like? For example, what's it like to be in One Piece? The question I want to ask first is, you're recording this by yourself in a booth.
Very much so.
Right. So when they call it ensemble, you're not all in the same place recording.
No. Every now and then, we might do a Walla session, which is where we'll all, several of us will get together and then we'll make background noises, you know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My uncle and aunt had this really cool, they went to Universal Studios, I believe is where it was one year. Something like that. It was someplace like that. But they were talking about how you do it in real life. But it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's so when you're watching a movie or a television series and you see, you know, we're sitting down, we're having dinner. The camera's focused on us and our conversation.
Right.
The people in the background and they're talking and apparently having their conversations. Right. But what they're saying is, they said, well, we'll show you how it can sound like a real group of people. And they just had them say, whatever you do, just say Walla. And it's like, oh, okay, so whatever. Really? So act like you're having a normal conversation.
Walla.
You know, our focus is going to be on the two people in the camera. Right. But everyone else says Walla. And so they're like, Walla, 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 Walla. So, and that's what all they're doing.
We wallowed the hell out of that.
Right. And then when you hear the audio come back again, when they put it in post, it sounds like people just talking.
That's amazing.
And so anyway, that's more or less what a Walla session is.
That's cool.
You know, but we do use real words, and yeah. And but so that's the only time you usually get that.
I got you. So when you're doing a mix and you've got the headphones on, I'm sure there have been times when the other voice actors have already been in, so you're hearing them. Maybe there's times when the other voice actors haven't come in yet, so they have someone else.
Those are always interesting. Yeah,
just people in the building.
Or? Yeah. Well, I'm one of the biggest. Well, one of the things I'm a part of right now is the Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. I'll say it again: the Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts.
Yes,
it's basically the anime Beauty and the Beast. Now they won't tell you that.
Okay,
but that's essentially what it is for the American audience.
With an anime sensibility.
With an anime sensibility, yes. And a lot of times, Emmy Lowe, who is a wonderful actress, she's the voice of Sarifi, the beauty of the story, if you will, and. She is oftentimes she'll do her lines before me, and every now and then it's kind of a tag team where, you know, tag in the sense of your turn.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
And she'll go before me or I'll go before her.
Okay.
And we often get our lines in first. And yeah, it's always interesting when nobody else has done theirs, and so it's all in Japanese, which I speak none. You know, I know maybe a few words, and that's it. And so, you know, I'm listening to that and then trying to play off of that, and because of the more or less cultural disconnect,
of course,
it's like you're trying to you know, play it for an American audience, and there is a difference. Okay. It's a distinct difference when you're doing it that way, and so it's you know, the emotion you put in, the way that you would treat it is different. So yeah, that's
going first. It's got to be hard.
It's definitely a challenge.
You
get used to it, you know, but it's always a little bit of a challenge. I mean, the biggest challenge is when you first get a character. To me.
Okay.
You know, because you're having to develop the voice on the fly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like, you know, you and then as you're developing the voice, sometimes it takes a little while to hammer it out.
And
then you have recorded.
I wish I could have done that 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, Now that's happened to me before.
Yeah,
but it's been so subtle that other people really didn't notice it unless it was somebody that had that ear.
Yeah,
and I used to be like that. If I'm watching a cartoon and I'm like, well, they used to talk like this. And I mean, if you go back and watch like Batman the Animated Series, Kevin Conroy starts out, Bruce Wayne is this way, but he's the guy that figured out. Yeah, that Bruce Wayne is really Batman. Yeah, and playing Bruce Wayne, he's the one that figured out the psychology. Yeah. So then the later iterations, he didn't have the smoky sound that he had for Batman before. It was just that straight, heavy tone. And then when he's Bruce with his friends, so it's like that. You learn to hammer out. You just learn like anything else, and it takes time. Yeah. By the way, I've been wanting to say this, and I keep forgetting. You have a voice made for radio. Oh, thank you. I'm just glad you didn't say I had a face for radio. No, but hey, that happens. That happens all the time. No, I was just in a conversation about that. There was somebody who were talking about, hey, well, voice actors can act on TV as well. I'm like, I would say as far as the acting part, I think voice actors have the advantage versus on-camera acting. Okay. Because you've gotten so used to having to play off of voices rather than playing off of the emotion of the person. Yeah. Whereas our camera actors tend to find voice acting. And this is a question you didn't ask, by the way, but still, okay. Forgive me for jumping ahead. Please, but it's more or less more of a challenge for them because acting is reacting. In a lot of ways, exactly. And so it's just like us having this conversation here. Right. We may all know may know the lines, right? And the lines are scripted, but the emotion we're adding to it, it's me playing off of you, as you're acting it towards me. Exactly. And when you get in the booth, which goes to what your previous question was, you don't have that. So it's like it is a whole nother kind of. And I used to be in the collections world, when I worked in the private sector, one of the many jobs I had, I worked collections, and you have to smile through difficult conversations a lot of times and stuff. So you learn to project your voice in a way that you don't show on your face because you may be like this in the call, but you're rolling your eyes, but you're like, oh yes, it's a wonderful package. You can definitely get all of this going on, and it's such a great thing. And it's like, I just would love to help you more if you could. Right. So, but your voice sounds really happy, but you don't feel that way at all. Exactly. And so it's a good acting tool. It translates really well.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of our interview with renowned voice actor Ray Hurd. Hit the subscribe button to receive notifications of when we release part 2. Until then, Mickey Tate and Zombie Scotty wish you all the best. Bye-bye.